there, my name's Gill. I'm from Collaboration Global, and this is our podcast, Being Human, Hidden Depths. I'm going to be interviewing some of our members from Collaboration Global, and they're going to be sharing with you their extraordinary lives. Although they would probably believe they're just normal, everyday, average humans, but they are extraordinary. A bit like you and me. We all have our story to tell. We've all been through difficult times, and we've come out the other end having learned an extraordinary amount about ourselves that we can share with others. So I think you'll find lots of things that will resonate with where you've been in your journey as well. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Hello and welcome to Being Human, Hidden Depths podcast. My name is Gill and I am part of the Collaboration Global community. And I'm so pleased to say that today I'm joined by somebody from way across the other side of the world in Malaysia, the beautiful Syireen Rose. Welcome, Syireen. Lovely to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Gill. I've been looking forward to today, so I'm very excited and happy to be here with you.
Fantastic. We've been having a little pre-chat before we started, and it's amazing the things we have in common. There are so many little bits and pieces that we're like, oh, I agree. Yeah, that absolutely, 100%. So hopefully this is what our listeners are going to be getting from this conversation as well, is how valuable what you have to say is. And I believe that you're a bit of a mover and a shaker. And I think we're going to be hearing your name a lot more in the future on the global scene as well. So first and foremost, you're one of our, in fact, I think you are the newest member of Collaboration Global. So just give me an idea of why did you, what was the attraction? What brought you to our table and how are you finding it so far?
I'm going to answer the last one first. It was, I love the authenticity of the members. I've been to like 2-3 of your sessions. And each time I come in, there's all these breakout sessions. Mm-hmm. And it's not a common experience for me to be in a group of people who are strangers and yet very open. Yeah. Most folks will come into the room with a huge "what's it for me" above their heads, and you'll be wondering what's the right thing to say. You know, what's this person's interest? How do I NLP this person? You know, you become a little highly strung in the room.
Yes, that's a really good point.
Yeah, but being in Collaboration Global, I've been to 2-3 breakout rooms, and there was one room. There was just 2 of us, and we were like, "Is this us?" And he was like, yeah, it's just us. And he was so mature and elderly and very welcoming. And he was giving me a massive amount of advice. And it was so not common for me. Yeah. And the other group was from massive different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. So one was from Brazil, and I think one was from India. And so we had lots and lots of different things to talk about. That was really exciting for us. Like, oh, I didn't know it was done that way. Oh, that's very interesting. And there was so much excitement and willingness to have that conversation, as opposed like, oh, I don't share this because it's my secret sauce. Yes. Or I'm not going to do this because she's going to take it and bring it to Malaysia, you know? Yeah. So I thought that was really, really uplifting. And I was up at 11 p.m., by the way, and I was having this conversation until 1 a.m. And I was like, oh.
The fact that you stayed to the end, I'm very impressed, because I had to do that an early morning call to India the other day. So I thought of you. So I was on this network with Gunjan Chowdhury, just give him a shout out, for Empower Network. And I had to get up at 2:00 to kick it off at sort of 2:45. Until 5:30. And I do remember saying to you, oh, we have an evening session, but that will be silly o'clock for you. And you went, yeah, no, if it's worth it, I'll come. I thought that's time is irrelevant, isn't it? If it's worth it, then you want to come on board. So it's really interesting to hear your perception of how we
Yes.
appear to you.
And the experience was one of the major reasons what made me participate, because um, the fee is actually a big chunk for me in Malaysia.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
chunk. Yes. And so the commitment was because there was so much value that comes with the investment. A lot of people don't see this, but I think being a part of a bigger picture, being a part of a bigger community, being a part with a group of people who is really eager to get to know each other,
Mm.
is a very powerful investment in our lives. We live in a world that is becoming more and more jaded, sterile, distant. So with a community that is wanting and looking to contribute to each other, is just massive investment on yourself.
I agree. And those words you've just used, that the world is becoming jaded and sterile, that just really gives this mental image of what is out there. I mean, social media, um, we've got this new thing, just a new kid on the block, Clubhouse. And my instant reaction was like, oh, I don't want to do, I know I'm supposed to do marketing and stuff, but it's another thing, and it's going to be full of people that are just selling to you. And it's, so I'm, totally jaded and sterile to what's going on out there. But because in the collaboration global world, we call it like the collab family, collab together. It's about connection, but not just connection because, as you say, what's in it for me? It's connection is, what can I do for you? How can I help? Now, if you, as you were to say, oh, is she going to steal my stuff and take it to Malaysia? I'll be like, take my stuff, take it to Malaysia. That would be so cool. It's a different way of seeing life and seeing the world. And I kind of knew that you would get it straight away. Should we tell people how we first met? Because, I don't pop
Yes.
over to Malaysia every day.
Yes, please. That'd be so. And I'll just share with them as much as the mischief that I kind of pulled on you guys as well. As that was fun for me.
I don't know why we're friends. I really don't. So our initial background is BNI. Many people know that I was entrenched in the BNI family, and everyone seems to have this Marmite feeling about BNI. They either love it or they hate it. And I could see both sides of the coin. And my philosophy, so I used to look after the Essex region, and I focused and majored on building relationships. So it's no surprise that I've come on to create Collaboration Global, not as a networking organization. It's totally separate from that. And I applaud BNI for the process that they have in place and the rules of their game, which is you do this, you do this, you do this, you get referrals. And it's kind of magic from that perspective. But a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners within the community go, well, I'm not going to follow those rules. And I don't think it's, and because they don't feel like they can follow those rules, it's that they're not used to being told what to do. They go, well, this isn't working for me. Follow the rules and it should be working. So as a result of BNI, I was invited to speak in Malaysia. And I was so excited to go. I'd never been that far east before. And you were one of the first people to welcome me to your community and your world. So how do you remember it?
So we were at that time a newly launched chapter. And there was a conversation in the national office saying, oh, we're going to have this 3 directors from England coming down, and there's any chapter who wants to host them, please do so. And I was the vice president of my chapter, and I was going, me. I was like, me. I was game because I felt that why would I have to go through channels and meet people when I can meet them up front?
Yeah.
So that was my thought process at that time.
Makes sense.
And I wanted to know and learn what was it like for British the folks in the UK viewed networking, and I was really curious about directorship. So what is this directorship? So you guys came, and I was watching you, and I was observing you, and then I went up to my friend and said, hey, you know what? Let's get them some fruits, and And one of my friends said, okay, what kind of fruits do you want to give them? They're like really good fruits, like mangosteen, like rambutan. Those are really nice sweet fruits. But I said, bring them to a place where the rambutan and the mangosteen is a byproduct of the main fruit I want them to eat. And then, and they go like, which one? So the king of fruit. Let's give them durian. And at that time, I went up to you guys and I said, would you like to taste the king of fruits? It's really good. It's really,
how can you refuse that? The king of course we want to taste the king of fruits. It sounds so innocuous. It's fine, lovely. Let's do that.
And I took them over, and the rest of my team was thinking, oh, I feel bad. I really, really, really shouldn't be doing this. And I was saying they might like it. They just might like it, you know. And so I watched the two ladies eat and very politely saying it was really good. I said, oh my God, let's get them some mangosteen. I felt bad by that time. But I know Derek, the other director was there. He was absolutely quiet. He finished his fruit, threw it away, and excused himself, ran out to the side of the road and had a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. I could stop the durian thing and give them all the mangosteen and all the rambutan. And so and the best part was in the car. I think Derek said, did somebody fart?
Yeah.
And I said, oh no, that's the durian in your mouth. Oh, how long is it gonna last there? And I was like, a while.
Yeah. I do remember getting on this lovely minibus, and we were being chauffeured around to all these places, and I was like, has somebody brought durian on the bus? It stinks in here. And no, that's you. Like, okay then. But in my defense, I was fascinated by it, and I know it's a 6-week window of opportunity, and we had spotted all these signs saying no durian allowed, not in the hotel, not in the restaurant, or whatever. You weren't allowed to take it in anywhere. I was like, well, I wonder why that is. Naive. And when it was opened up, and some of you guys were eating it and going, lovely. I don't know if it's a good acting thing, but you were going, oh. So I remember getting this sort of gloop in my hand, and it looked fine. It smelled disgusting. But I thought, okay, let's go with this. And the first taste was like, wow. And then it was like, oh, actually, I quite like this. Oh, if I can get over the first taste, then the second taste is worth the effort. And then, oh, hang on a minute. No, it tastes disgusting again. And it was like, oh, and I was so kind of, what a shame, because the middle bit, the texture was beautiful. But then, of course, the stink that stays with you for the rest of the day. It was just... Oh,
but we did make the effort of finding the sweetest version of the durian for you guys.
There's worse ones, is there? Oh,
it was the sweetest. The one that you got was called the sleeping cat.
Okay.
So it's very, very sweet. And the more tangy one and the more pungent one, it's called oh God, it just missed. Oh, never mind. So we had a really pungent one.
If you want to try it, go for sleeping cat. If you're that brave, if you're that brave, it was an adventure. It was an adventure, and it's brilliant. And what I remember meeting you for the first time, Syireen, is this serenity, this togetherness, this calm. Didn't pick up on the cheeky straight away. But that you have a little sparkle going on in there, and you've just come across as this really together woman. So when you were saying to me about, oh, I'm not sure about this, not sure about that, leadership just shone out of you, and it was just so wonderful to be part of, sharing my experience of BNI and how I got my region to number one in the country, but also to see your potential and to see what you were going to do and how you were going to grow. Explain to people sort of what your journey has been since then, from that time within BNI. How are you getting on with that?
I had a very interesting journey, but before I go there, I really want to acknowledge Gill. I probably would not have been as willing to continue in leadership because I'm a very compliant person, and BNI works well for me because of its systems. So I'm more like, do, don't do, can do, cannot do, black, white. I'm because it says just do, and that will result in success. Just do, and that will result in success. And for someone who's very new in entrepreneurism, and someone who was really new in like managing a bunch of CEOs in a room, I was just like, okay, I'll just follow the system. And that did not work. As you mentioned, some business owners will go like, no, I don't want to do that. Don't tell me what to do. And I'm like, no, but okay, must do. Like, and then I don't want to do that. But you're in BNI and you subscribe to it, and you say yes when you sign the application form. So,
What's
and
your
so
problem?
conflict, yes. And what you said to me made me think, oh, you're right. You were saying in leadership, just do what you feel is right, and go for it. If they don't agree with you, so what? So I was like, okay, let's give that a shot, because of course I knew that you were one of the more successful directors, and I go like, oh, she must know what's going on, and she's been there longer, so I'm just going to follow what she said. And so after a couple of I think about a year maybe, and as a member, I was invited to be a director consultant, and I took care of a couple of chapters, and that was my learning experience at that time. As much as BNI had a lot of systems, it was still quite sketchy. We were still putting things together.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game now. Everything is so organized, but at that time it was still very here and there. And so I did a lot of my work based on, I think this feels good.
Yeah, you go with your heart, don't you?
I think
Feels
this
right.
feels good, and I'm going to do this. And what happened was, some of the chapters that I took care of were given to me sick.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with it. And what was for my director, who was above me, thought was the worst decision I made, was by far the best decision I made as a leader, because I closed the chapter and I dispersed the group.
Right.
And I parked the members where I felt they would flourish.
Right.
And of course, I didn't get a raving review from everybody else. But a year later, these members came to me and thanked me, and said, you are forever my director consultant.
Oh, that's
And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And that really fueled me to continue. And now I actually hold a region. I am the executive director for one region. So I take care of 4 areas in Malaysia. That is called Sabajaya, Putrajaya, Bangi, and Kajang. So that's one full area that I care for now. And it's my second year. So I'm very pleased with where I am today.
Yeah, and it takes a while to kind of get your feet under the table and feel confident and comfortable with decisions that you make that maybe people in the next region are not doing, and you're like, oh, it's a bit different. But ultimately you go with your heart, because you've got your best intentions of your members in place, haven't you? And that's why I always majored on relationships in my region, so that you put people together. And what I didn't realize at the time, and I've since been it's been identified, that my skill, or my genius, if you will, is connecting people. Because I can spot a mile off, oh, you two are talking together, aren't you? And people are like, no. I said, well, you do that and you do that, and he loves this and you love that, and why are you not together? Oh, right, okay, didn't realize. So that's what I love to do. And then when you put 2 people together and 6 months later they come back, go, yeah, we've got a project going and it's worth 50 grand, and thank you very much, Gill. It's like, okay, take me out for dinner, that's fine.
Lobsters, please.
Yes, exactly. It is that kind of follow your heart.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you brought that up. The word relationship is something that a lot of business owners kind of miss in creating connections in business. And it took me a while. It took me a while as well to understand that relationships is key. Because I did not recognize that at the beginning of my journey, a lot of my work was tiring, because I work, I get a job, job's done, delivered, finish. Work again, get a job, deliver a job. It's so tiring. But with a relationship, it's like, okay, just you do this. I'm going to just give this to you, and I'm just going to trust you with this project and do it. And that's just what is the most beautiful thing about business, and the most overlooked. It's the building of relationship, and a sincere relationship where I am committed to your success as much as I know you are committed to mine. So this is probably one thing that business owners just kind of like overlook sometimes. And
that's one of the foundations of Collaboration Global, is that we're after each other's success and they want each other to reach their own potential. So sometimes somebody will go, was it yesterday I was on a call with some collaborators, and we were talking about various things going forward, and somebody said, yeah, I really want to try and write my book. I'm going to start writing my book this year. And the other one sort of said, can I challenge you on that? Using language and how the words that were being used. He said, you're starting, or you're going to write a book? Are you going to write a book, or are you just going to start one? He said, well, funny you should say that, because I've started 4 already, not finished any of them. So when you want the best for somebody, then you kind of, and also you want the best for you. So when someone says, can I challenge you? It's like, okay, go on. So there's something I haven't heard yet. And then when they change that whole language, then more things are going to come out of it, because obviously you're empowering yourself to be more aware of what you're saying, and your words are very powerful, which leads me very nicely on to your day job, because obviously being a BNI director isn't what you are all about. That's just something you happen to do as a by the by. Your day job has been dubbed as being a word coach, and you like to you've been described as a wordsmith. So in a particular arena, not just because you like writing stuff, because I love writing things. Tell me how that's come about and how you help people with their words.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited to talk about it, because I've been passionate about words since I think my mom introduced me to books. And that's like aeons ago, right? I'm not going to tell you my age. And I when I got married to my husband, I said, I'm really sorry, but I have this really passionate love affair that you're just going to have to live with. And he goes like, oh, okay. And I go like, yeah. And I go, with words. So you're just going to have to deal with me, because I'm going to catch on every word you say, and I'm going to ask you, what did you mean by that?
Yeah.
You know? And he was like, oh, okay. He didn't get it, of course. He's a programmer, by the way. So he understands 1001010. That's what he understands. And so it's kind of cute, because he's like, blah, 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 blah. And Syireen is like,
ooh, marriage made in heaven there.
Yeah. It was kind of funny how we got together. But so I always thought that words were beautiful, and I loved it. And I used to carry around with me a thesaurus, and I would have my dictionary and my synonyms and all the stuff in my bag. And people are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm reading, and I'm trying to figure out what that means in another context.
Yeah.
And I was like probably in primary school at that time. I didn't have many friends, because they would ask me to, what do you feel like doing today? And I go like, let's go figure out why the whales behave the way they do. and they go like, and the penguins too. And I was obsessed with the Arctics, and I love the ice, and I love all the animals that was there. And people, I didn't have that many friends.
Oh.
So, but I was very happy in the library, and I spent a lot of time in the library. And my mom, when she was doing her PhD, she would be in the library, and she sent me to the kids' corner. But because we were there every day, I completed my rounds in a kids' corner, and I migrated to the adult corner. And I came to her one day, going, oh, look, this is how babies are made. Oh, hey, look.
No.
And she was like, okay. So I was very well exposed, but I also created massive amount of vocabulary on my part. And I realized that because of that, I was able to communicate effectively, efficiently, and getting my points across pretty well at my age. And later, I went to school. I went to a journalism school in the US. I went to the University of Missouri, Columbia, which is I think it's still one of the best universities for the undergraduates. They're always like the top 3.
Brilliant.
And I studied how to communicate because I realized that when I went to the States, the cultures were different. And when I say something, it was easily misinterpreted.
Yeah.
And I met something else, and it was understood differently. And there was massive amount of miscommunication between the Asian students and the Western students and the European students. It was massive miscommunication, and there was a need for a bridge. That was when I started to understand that one word has multiple meanings.
Yes.
And one of the classes that really hit me, one of my journalism classes, was a study by I.A. Richards. He studied words, and he said, you can learn and speak within a week or two just by understanding the basics.
Yeah.
And he proved it by taking a bunch of cards, English words, and he went to the most remote areas in China and got the Chinese to speak in English in just a few weeks. And it was easy because it's like that black cat. It's not pretty. The sentence is not pretty, but there is communication. And I was like, oh, excellent. So what I did was I had a couple of conversations, and we had some conflict and miscommunication, and there was a lot of anger. And I picked up on one word that was really, really creating a conflict at that particular time with that pool of folks. And sadly, or interestingly, the word is love.
Oh.
Yeah. Conflict, but the word is love.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, okay. And maybe without knowing at that time, I kind of just asked, what was going on with this particular person with the word love, and there was a lot of conversation. And then we found out that for most of us, love is connected with joy, passion, kindness. But for this particular person, she preferred the word care.
Right.
She didn't like the word love because she said love was a lot of fireworks, but it's not permanent.
Yeah.
Care is permanent.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. And then I asked her, would it be okay with you to also consider that a nurse can care tremendously for her patient and not have an ounce of love for the patient? And that got her thinking. And well, the conflict did like fly off, but it got better. And it got me thinking, oh, I have to be more responsible with my words now. And then when I started writing, that was what I realized was really important. I needed to be responsible with my words because somebody may misunderstand what I'm trying to express because of their experience with the word. So that was my learning. Yeah.
That's lovely. Yeah. I can see how that moved you on to it's a natural space. It's interesting when we're working in an area that we are passionate about, that we feel like I would do this for free because I love doing it so much. It always stems back to something that you started years and years ago. So for my purpose around Collaboration Global is that human beings come first. I don't care what age you are, sex you are, sexual orientation, color, religion, blah, blah, blah. You're a human being first. And I remember as a child, I was fortunate enough to be raised in the multicultural society. And up until the age of 6 or 7, I didn't see color. And it wasn't until my mum said, don't you have any white friends? That I was like, oh, they're different to me. It was like this revelation. And so from a child, I like to think everything should be fair. It shouldn't be uneven. There should be no isms in the world. Don't be cruel, be kind, look after each other, help each other. And so from the age of like 6 or 7, that stuck with me. So now naturally I've morphed into this space of helping each other and creating this community where we can show that you don't have to live in that horrible world where everyone's being mean to each other and being horrible. You can live in a space of love and connection and abundance. And I see exactly your journey of the library and all the way through. And now your passion for words, excuse me, is the bigger picture of how you can help people to empower themselves just by understanding what comes out of their mouth and how those words have got such an impact in everything they do, from how successful they are to their relationships with other people to the impact they want to make on the world. So to call yourself, or I have people call you a wordsmith, I don't think that does you justice. I think there must be a bigger description around there, because a wordsmith is just someone that's clever and writes lovely prose. But you actually, by the sound of it, have spent your life passionate about making words count. So what sort of clients come to you then? Who are the people that come that need your... Because most of us think, I know words, I can do words, I know what I'm saying, but actually...
Yeah. So I went through a couple of different journeys, I guess. I started with wanting to help people understand the essence of the word before they begin anything. So I came up with a product called Branding with Words. And branding with words.
Right.
And I felt that a lot of people had a brand, but they couldn't stay stable on a message because they don't have one root word that cements them on their life purpose or their brand purpose. Of course, it was a personal innovation, and as much as the folks who came to my sessions felt that was good for them to uncover their true passion in their business and why they do what they do, it takes too long to figure it out. So they wanted a shortcut. I want it pretty. I want it done tomorrow. So that quest stuck with some of my clients, but it couldn't go as far as I wanted to. And I still felt that a lot of conversations were done on ad hoc and very irresponsible way, in such a way that sometimes some people get insulted by the conversation. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to keep this with whomever wants to work with me in Branding with Words. And I have all the worksheets and the stuff that you can work with me. And I morphed on to this thing called Power of Words. And here's where my work really jump-started. And I realized how important it was for a community that I often find myself landing in. And those will be women. And a lot of women, I always say that women are such A++ creatures. Right. When I'm a mom, I have to be A++ mom. When I'm a daughter, I'm an A+++ daughter. When I'm a business owner, I'm an A++ business owner. And I go like, oh, that's a lot. You are overflowing. Your cup is not going to be able to sustain all this A++ stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll be the one bashing ourselves, saying that I'm not A++ enough. You know, when everybody's going like, oh, I love what you do. You're doing okay. But no, I have to do that. You know, and so I realized that what I did, I was having a conversation with a very beautiful, absolutely beautiful lady. She does. She's a groomer. She grooms women, image consultant.
Right.
And in the short span I spent with her, and she's a very powerful lady, very influential, international, and she keeps on saying, without knowledge, you can't do this. You have to know enough. There's a lot of things that you will not achieve if you have no knowledge. You need to learn. You have to self-develop. You have to constantly be improving yourself. Learning is important. Knowledge is important. And I was like sitting in the room and listening to her talk. It was a friendly conversation. But in that 10, 15 minutes, I felt stressed because I felt that if I'm not smart, I don't live up to her expectation. So I stopped her. I said, can I just kind of like stop you for a moment? You know? And my wordsmith and coach just came up. And I said, can I just share with you one thing that I'm just observing? Would be okay with you, you know, I just want to share a couple of things I'm observing. I know you're a coach, I'm a coach, and I really feel that I have to give you this feedback. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And I said, what is this word knowledge mean to you? How important is it to you? And she said, why don't you think it's important? Oh yeah, I think it's very important. I spend a lot of money in self-development. I invest myself all the time, but it's exceptionally important to you. And she goes like, how do you know? So, because that's the only thing you said so far in the past 10, 15 minutes. And she was like, really? So in her conversation, she didn't even realize that she's been emphasizing on the importance of being smart, well learned. She didn't realize that. And she goes like, oh, I didn't realize that. And I go like, where is it coming from? And then she said, I don't know. And I go like, do you want to walk through it? And she was like, okay. And I go like, okay. So when did this become super important to you? And then she said it was she said when she came from East Malaysia to West Malaysia. And I go, oh, okay. And she goes like, when I came, I spoke not a single drop of English, and my Malay was at its worst. Malay is the national language. She spoke her mother tongue,
right?
And she said she was treated so badly, and all she wanted to do was earn a living.
Yeah.
And so we went through the process of why that meant so important to her. And I said, I think it should be, it should remain the most important thing to you because it's your driving factor. At the same time, you may want to increase the level of awareness or clarity that the person in front of you may not share that, or may feel that if I'm not as good as you, I can't be your friend. So perhaps contextualizing the conversation would support you. And she was like, "Oh, she didn't realize that." And she immediately apologized. I don't. I'm okay. I'm quite exposed. I'm quite learned. Yeah, I'm okay. But I said that it's just a conversation that I caught up. And then after that, I went back and I go like, such powerful thing that I supported someone else who is so powerful, so arrived, and that with one word, I could support her and just being a better representation of herself. And that's where I thought the power of words.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you imagine, without that knowledge of where that intensity, that focus had come from, she must have been putting herself under such a lot of stress unconsciously. And then by having that stress of like, I need knowledge, I must know more, which you're never going to know everything. We all know that. We can't know everything. And you're always going to find somebody that knows more than you do. But she's putting herself under that pressure. So everyone within her circle that comes into that is feeling this energy. And this energy is intense. And that it's not like a magnet that attracts, it's a magnet that repels. When that kind of energy, you don't want to be in that periphery of a person that's under stress like that, because some people, if they're not feeling tip top themselves, are going to be thinking, what have I done? Why doesn't she like me? And it's not, it's just this intensity around her to be her best, trying so hard. And now you've given her that perspective and she can go, oh yeah, okay. And she's been given permission not to strive to a detrimental effect. Yes, be positive, move forward, learn stuff. Yeah, we all got to do that, but in perspective to who she is and where she's come from and what she's doing, and look around her and see how far she's come, which many of us don't do. We're always looking forward, and we forget to go, wow, look where we've come from. This is amazing. I've done so much. Aren't I clever? You don't do that. You just look at, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I want to do that. And it's the road ahead. So that's a really beautiful, simple example. And I bet you come across this all the time. You must be sitting in meetings all the time when you just want to go, shall I say something now? They haven't asked me to. Shall I just tell them about that word? It triggers me every time I hear someone say try. Hey, should we have a meeting next week? Oh, yeah, I'll try and make it. That means no. That just means no to me. If I hear the word try, there is no content. I absolutely believe they're not going to show up. I'll try and see what I can do. They're not coming. So you being more aware of these words, it must be like being bombarded all the time when you have a chat with somebody that how they could empower themselves to just choose more powerfully the right words.
I totally agree. And I feel that perhaps it started because I went to a talk. And it's not that I don't think nobody knows this. It's not rocket science. We all know this.
Yeah.
But it's because it arrived at the right time when maybe I'm more ready to receive that information.
Yeah.
He said, until when will you live in other people's expectations?
Mm.
So somebody told her that she's not smart enough. So even when she became smart, somewhere at the back of her head, she was living in someone else's conversation that she wasn't smart enough. And it reflected back on me and how I lived my life. When I spoke to you, I said I was a better leader. And because I was living in other people's expectations. So
Yeah.
it came to a time when I felt that I needed to do this work because a lot of women, as I mentioned, I really want to help women who have arrived, really powerful women, really did everything and successfully arrived at a place that they wanted. And then it's absolutely hollow in their heart. And they're lonely, or they're just not feeling completely 100% themselves, because there's a lot of their parts were left behind because of what they needed to do to be where they are today. So by listening to conversations, we can actually just say that word. Let's find out when that started to go away from you. When did that word stopped being yours? When did you stop owning the word of love? When did you stop owning the word I got this? When did you stop owning the word I'm great, I'm beautiful, I'm smart? When did you lose all these words? And then by going and peeling through those layers, we can work around that first layer and get complete with that layer. If you can look at it as like an onion, right?
Yeah.
So we get complete with that layer by one trigger. And then we can go to the next layer. But we're only complete until we're not, because sometimes another trigger comes and you get back to the initial layer, and you have to work on that again and again and again until a trigger comes to you and you feel absolutely nothing. And then you're complete with that experience or relationship with that word. So that's basically my work. I loved it, and I've been doing this for a couple of months now, no, actually a couple of years, but really going into it because I just discovered this tool that I created, and really excited, supporting, massive amount of, not massive, not fantastic word for that one, a multicultural group of women that I work with to see perspective, and then being able to learn from them and allowing them to really rediscover themselves. Is wonderful how just connecting and having a better relationship with a word can do for you.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it.
You know what? You are the epitome of what we talk about, is that everyone has a genius within them. It's a gift that's been bestowed upon us, and that's the reason we're on this planet. And many people don't find out what that gift is, or they go, I'm really good at this, but they don't actually enjoy it that much. They've just learned how to be good at something. But when you find that thing that you love to do, and you are really good at it, and you see things from a perspective that maybe nobody else does, or the odd person does, and you think, this is who I am, this is part of who I am, it's not the thing that I do, it's who I am being, then that is your gift to the world. And that's what we say, is come together in Collaboration Global and share your gift and tell people how you can help them and what you can do. And interestingly, I've been involved with a lady called Pauline Crawford. I'll give her a quick shout out. And she's been talking about gender and masculine and feminine energies, and how across the world we have been pigeonholing ourselves.
I know Pauline.
Do you? I love this woman. So
I don't know her very well, but our path has crossed a couple of times. Nice. She's I met her here in Malaysia.
Okay.
Pauline Crawford. If we're talking about the same Pauline Crawford.
How many Pauline Crawford about gender and
gender equality,
energy? So yes. I'll invite you onto her next call. She does roughly a monthly call, and we discuss these issues. And what's interesting is how we label each other, quite easy. If you're gentle, feminine energy. Well, why is that feminine energy? We've just put a label on it. It's energy. It's being gentle is just an energy. But the point I'm making is that in the world that we currently live in, any woman who is deemed successful, this is sweeping statement, massive generalization, but women who are deemed successful, who have managed to get their feet under the table of the board and are at the pinnacle of their game, generally done it under masculine energy. And I believe that this is pivoting now when we're realizing that the kind of the fierce, the gung-ho attitude, the success at any cost, the strong leadership, this is my decision, you have to follow my rules, is of the last century. And now we are coming to, as Simon Sinek tells us, the servant leader. You understand your context, you take your why, you've got your purpose, and you enable people around you. You bring them up with you to go with you on a journey in order to fulfill something that's useful, not just for the organization, not just for the business, but for other people outside of that periphery as well. So I love the work that Pauline's doing. And I think what you are talking about doing is helping people that maybe have risen up the ranks and are at the top of the table. But as you say, there's this hole in them. There's this missing thing because they're not being true to themselves. And understanding the language they use might just pick it out of what's happened, why, and how did you get here? And how can you stay here, but be in your own power? Whether that is a masculine or a feminine energy, but it's yours and not taken because that's how you succeed. I have to do it that way in order to succeed. You can find a way to do it your way.
I totally agree. And again, as you're saying, everything, of course, is what we're saying right now is an overgeneralization, and it's something that is a sweeping statement. But what we're really wanting to support are women who feels that they want to have a conversation, they don't know whom to speak to, and they don't want to feel lesser than who they have become, but feeling vulnerable and wanting to share. Because I know a lot of, as I shared with you earlier, I have seen the powerful energy that comes with women coming together and creating so much beautiful energy in loving and supporting each other to whatever success that the women in the group wants to achieve. And at the other end, I will see women who are just clawing at each other because they wanted to hold the power that they have. And another group of women who says, like, I really don't want to be associated with her because she's too powerful, or she's too weak, or she's too much of a loser for me. And what I love about when women come together and being flat, as you were saying, completely blind to color, creed, lifestyle choices in their lives, and just wanting to give what I have. I don't have everything. I don't know everything. I just have this.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
If you want it, let me share it with you. And if you feel like sharing something back with me, that's cool. If you don't feel like it, that's fine. But I really want to be a part of this enriching community where women can be awesome. And that's my dream. I want to see more women, empowering more women, because we can. By nature, we are nurturing.
Yes.
By nature, we are very warm creatures. That's why we can be moms. And we are able to sustain a lot of pain. Childbirth. See, sorry guys.
This is true.
This is true. So, so there's a gift, and it's beautiful. I just want women to just be more aware of how beautiful that is.
Yeah, and how beautiful their life can be when they live in their own essence.
Yes.
And understand themselves better. Because if you're a successful woman and you're listening to this and you're struggling to get to sleep, and your logic goes, I've got everything I've worked for and I'm still not happy and I don't know why. It's understanding, when somebody can look at your words and your language and help you to peel back those layers, then we don't know what we don't know. So you can look logically and go, well, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. Well, that's great. But having something, the got, isn't enough. It's the being of who you are, is the essence of who you are. And that's what you want. And that brings joy. And that's where the happiness comes from. And happiness is up and down. It's not all the time. But if you haven't had happiness or joy, deep, deep joy for a long time, and you're just going through the motions, then this is a beautiful way to help you know what you don't know. And just over the years, I've acknowledged and seen how powerful words are. Words that I was using that was disempowering me, and helping me to be not listened to by people that should have been listening to me, because I knew what I wanted to say, but the words that were coming out were disempowering me. So people were like, yeah, okay, not interested. It wasn't working. And now I work specifically on making those the language more powerful, and it's an ever-going journey. You never, somebody say, did you mean to say that? I'm like, no, I didn't actually. That came out all wrong. And you don't, so it's an ongoing journey. But if you're finding you're without joy, this is a lovely place to start. I've just noticed the time. We could go on all day.
Yes.
I just want to briefly ask you, tell us who are you in lockdown over in Malaysia? Who's in your bubble? Who are your family? Who are nearest and dearest to you? And what's your ambition for 2021? In about 2 minutes. Go for it.
2 minutes. Okay. So I'm a proud mother of 4. I have 3 boys, 1 beautiful girl, married to an amazing man, as I mentioned, 001100 bits and bytes guy.
I love your husband.
But completely embracing the craziness in me and the cheekiness in me. I know he's allowing all that to happen. Very happy, been married for almost 2 decades, living in Putrajaya. We are in a lockdown. That's not so cool. But I'm a writer. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And 2021 is, I have decided to be a time for me to really, really spread my wings. Hence, wanting to be part of Collaboration Global, meeting more people outside of my usual everyday space. Participating in the coaching community full of sisters who are really looking at making a difference to other sisters' life. I'm really putting myself out there, getting to know new people, networking with a whole lot of different people I'm maybe more uncomfortable to be with. Never forget, I'm actually just the girl behind a book and wanting to write. And really wanting to bring my work, the word coach, and supporting as many women as I can. This is really something that I've always wanted to do, and I've really gone into from gear 4 to gear 5, and hopefully to gear 6 if possible in 2021, and just reaching out to women and bring us all together and be awesome at being who we are.
Yeah, and hopefully in sort of 5 to 10 years' time, we don't have to be doing the helping women. It's just helping everybody. But I think that there are many women. The world that is changing is coming into this feminine energy and a new way of doing business. And if we can help them, they will help more and more people. And then you've got this ripple going around the world to make your work go further and further. Syireen, it's been an absolute joy talking to you today. We're going to have to revisit this at some point, because there's so much more to be said. Small world. I'm talking to someone from Malaysia who also knows Pauline Crawford. I love the fact that it's like, how does this happen? There are millions of people in the world, and we know someone, obviously we know a lot of people in common, but somebody out of the blue. That's absolutely brilliant. So hopefully we'll see you on one of her calls as well going forward. If people want to get in touch with you, if they're like, oh, actually, quite like to do some of this word malarkey and just try it out and see, even if you don't think you have a problem, or you're not sure, but if you're just curious and want to get in touch with Syireen, how's the easiest way? What's the best way to get in touch with you, darling?
You can, I function so much faster, or respond so much faster on WhatsApp. That would be do you want a number now, or?
We can put it on afterwards. No, that's fine. We can put it on afterwards.
Okay, so that's 601938817774, and I do respond to Syireen Rose at peachesandpen.com.my. If you want to come and visit my Facebook, you can.
Lovely.
It's also Syireen Rose, or you can go to my Facebook, Peaches and Pen.
Perfect. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for coming. You are a valued member of the Collaboration Global community, and you've only just arrived. It's amazing. So I wish you every success in your journey with our community. and bring your friends. And if anybody would like to meet Syireen, you are welcome to come and attend one of our Collaboration Global sessions. They're always on the last Tuesday of the month, 3 till 5 UK time, London GMT. And you can find us on Eventbrite, looking for Collaboration Global, or go to collaborationglobal.org, and you can sign on and come to a meeting from that. Next one is on the 26th of January. And Syireen will be there, and you can have a chat with her, maybe be in one of her breakout rooms and find out some more. So I've been Gill Tiny. Thank you very much for joining us today on Being Human Hidden Depths. It's been great. Lovely to see you, Syireen. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Take
Bye.
care.
I just call you Jeannie. It's Jill Tiny.